let's take a look at the board and what you've got going on here. You've got your Ground Control Pro. You've got a Fishman preamp for your piezo system.
Yep.
Which only sees the front of house, right? And you're monitoring.
Yep. So that's the preamp, and then what happens is with my other Les Paul, I'll show you. With this guy, I've got the Fishman power bridge, and typically I use a TRS cable, which is a stereo cable, and that allows me to, again, and this is another box Dave made. When I step on that, I get no guitar out of the amps. It splits the signal into this preamp, which hits a channel on front of house, so I can get like a really cool acoustic sound. And that was one of the ways, and people ask me all the time, man, how'd you get that sound for, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You on Pink?
Right.
And that was this. I used the acoustic sound, although I was wireless, and it was a different rig, obviously, but I've always used that setup. And I had to have 2 wireless packs for the stereo signal, because and then I had my tech changing my sounds in the back.
And that sounded really, really cool too. I remember seeing the video, and that's what actually it made me discover your playing and stuff, was watching these cover tunes that Pink does, which was really cool. It must be
really
fun.
It was so much fun, man.
And you did it so well, and so did Pink. I mean, the whole band was really, the Bohemian Rhapsody, and the I think you guys did some AC/DC.
Yeah.
A lot of fun stuff, and that Zeppelin was especially cool because there you are in the middle of the stage playing a Les Paul. And you've got this great acoustic sound coming out, and then instantly you're switching into this heavy distorted, and in this great solo at the end with lots of delay going on and all that stuff. So that's really cool that everything's incorporated in this rig now. So Dave has built you a custom switcher for the piezo, and then it goes into this junction box, and then splits out to different places. You've got a volume pedal that sits before the amp. And your tuner, and that also acts as a buffer for the system, so you don't need a separate buffer. You've got your wah. You've got a volume pedal that's in the loop, right?
Yeah,
of the
Shiva.
So that allows you to fade out of delays and stuff, and allows the delays to trail, correct?
Yeah, and the other thing which is really cool about that, having that volume pedal, this always has to be up in order for me to get that, because that's in front. But like say I'm sitting there at rehearsal or whatever, and I'm bored out of my mind and whatever's happening, I could sit here and shred all day long at a low volume, and that's really why I have it.
And that keeps your gain stages up.
Yeah.
To where they are if you're full blast, and that becomes your master volume after the preamp section of the amp, which is really cool because, like you say, you can shred and you can have all the distortion and the delays and all that stuff without being crazy loud.
Really, I mean, the most applicable reasoning for this is for like swells. Get like a longer delay. Which is really, really, really cool. And then, like I said, you can, it's cool for dynamics as well.
Now the volume pedal in front, are you basically using that just as an extra volume control, an extra guitar volume control, so you can lower the gain?
Lower the gain, sometimes. Which is cool, because like sometimes you get like, say I want more of like a bluesier, then I want to get more into, more of a rock thing, it just gives me more textures just with having it in front and in the loop,
Yeah, that's really cool that you've got the volumes placed at 2 different locations in the stage, so that you can do different things with it. It's really cool. And you've got some other boxes here, like this is a custom AC box, just basically feeds the AC and then to the rest of your units, and a pedal power 2 that we've seen. Actually, you have the G Plus or the G Labs in your rack, and you've got the pedal power 2+ here on
right.
your pedal board. So it provides power for all the units here
right.
On the pedal board itself. You're a real big fan of the Bogner stuff, and it sounds really great when you're playing through it. That's for sure. They're coming out with a line of pedals soon, and I guess you're gonna be calling on me or Dave to come down and make that addition to your to one of your pedal trays, or we're gonna find a place for it anyways. So. Can you tell us anything about the?
Yeah, I recently played through some of the pedals, and they're awesome. The blue one is, one of the palettes that I don't have in this, and I guess that's sort of a replica of the blue channel on the Ecstasy, which is just a killing sound. And we did some experimenting with it, and on the clean channel of the Goldfinger, it's just awesome. It sounds so good, and it's got a lot of room for there's tons of gain, or to little almost no gain, and it just sort of colors up the sound a little bit. So I'm just excited to kind of add that into the rig, and I think once that's in there, I think it's a done deal.
Justin, let's talk about your amps. You're using Bogners. You've got 2 in your rack. One is a Shiva, the top one, and the other one is a Goldfinger 90. Maybe just describe what you use each one of those amps for, and what you dig about each of those amps.
Well, the thing I dig about the Shiva has always been sort of my main amp, always my go-to. I love it for the fact that I come through it. Like my sound, my fingers sort of translate through that amp. You know what I mean? It's and I like how it's got a lot of gain. It's nice for bigger, heavier stuff.
Right.
And then the thing I love the Goldfinger for, man, it's like the clean sound is just killer. It's really like it pokes out. It's real chimey, and it's more of a vintage sounding amp. Like the Shiva's more of a modern sounding thing, and then the Goldfinger is more of a vintage thing. So for like more classic. That kind of stuff, it's killer for that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just nice having those 2 different palettes. And the other thing about the Goldfinger, it's really versatile too, because you can flip it to the 80s mode, and you get a little bit more of a compressed sort of JCM, I guess, I don't know, 800 sort of a sound out of it, which is really cool. But I think, Reinhold really nailed the vintage thing on this, because I guess he's sort of more known for his modern sort of sounding things.
So let's hear the 2 different amps. Let's hear the Shiva, and let's hear the Goldfinger.
Okay, so I've got it actually set up. So let's say like this is sort of 2 functions. Let's say the end of the world, and I've got a global sound, which is my Shiva dirty, so I could get through a gig.
Right.
I could always back it off down here if I need to get a little bit, get a cleaner sound or whatever. But what also is great about that is, so I'm on a whole different bank right now. So I'm on the Goldfinger. Now I'm on the Shiva, and I could switch seamlessly between the 2.
Right.
And it's real quiet, and there's no lag, because before when I was doing this, I was using a different switcher, and it was like I'd click on it, and it was like a second later, like half a second later, it would go. So now I can use both amps in one song, So if I want to use like the clean, for like a verse. And I want to go for like a big rock chorus, so I can do that.
You just switch from the Goldfinger into the Shiva.
Yeah.
Cool. And on the Shiva, that's where you're putting your loop type effects. You're using the loop on that. And the Goldfinger, you're not using the loop on that. But
yeah, I mean, like the way I kind of look at it is like sort of 2 different sections. I kind of look at like the Shiva more as my modern, like sort of shred, rock amp, and then this is more my classic rock or you know, for the cleaner, sparkly sounding things, that's kind of the Goldfinger's sort of that ballpark, you know.
Now, when you're doing the TV shows like The Voice, are you using all of these cabinets? Are you using all 4 cabinets, or are you just using 2, or just using 1?
I'm just using 1.
You're just using 1 cabinet.
And when I go out, when I'm with Pink, I always use 2.
Right.
But since like it's, you know, it's kind of deceiving on The Voice. It's kind of it's not quite as big as a setup and stage as you would think, you know. And I'm also dealing with the you know, they mix the vocals really loud on The Voice, and the band's kind of more in the background because it's about the voice, right, you know. So I have to be kind of conscious of my volume and stuff. And when I've got 2 cabinets going, you know, and as loud as I like to kind of run the amps, it's pretty like overpowering. Pink, she loves loud rock and roll guitar. So thank God for that, because it's awesome for me. Because I manage to pull the tone out of the amps that I like, and it's not offensive.
Right. Now, with Pink, are you running the cabinets actually on stage, or are they backstage?
On stage.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it's real rock and roll.
Yeah, it's full on. Yeah. I mean, she's, you know, very organic person, you know, and just, you know, like she loves rock and roll.
It must be a really fun gig if you're able to get your amps up to level, because you see so many bands now where, you know, the cabinets are off in ISO boosts, and, you know, you can basically talk on stage and everybody's in ears.
Yeah.
You kind of lose that vibe.
You lose the vibe, yeah.
It must be fun to have that vibe.
It's great. I mean, I'm on in-ears, you know, because, you know, some things we do to click and stuff like that. So you don't want your monitor going doop, 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 you know. So so I wear ears, but I've got my cabinets right behind me, and it's you know,
you're getting
loud.
that
I still feel it,
right?
And you can still get a little bit of it in your ears as well.
You're getting that interaction between the guitar strings and the volume of the cabinets, because when the volume's up, it's vibrating your strings. Yeah. It feels great under your fingers.
Yeah.
You're getting feedback when you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, because that's the thing that I've noticed before. Because there have been times where I've had to do gigs where the cabinets were under, you know, under the stage, and, you know, and I wanted to get feedback, or in the studio, right, you know, where there's like, I need to get feedback, but I'm like, you know, the speakers are in a different room, and it's impossible.
Well, that's great, Justin. I'm really happy that we got a chance to do this rig for you.
Yeah, thank you so much,
it was
man.
great working with you on it, and the results are I mean, it sounds great, especially with your playing abilities.
Thank you, man. And thanks to, you know, Dave for, you know, and Rob and all you guys at Tone Merchants, man. You guys have been awesome, and you know, and the rig's working beautifully, and thanks to Bogner for all the awesome, you know, amps, and it's just very blessed and lucky to have all you guys around me, so I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.